Alrighty y'all, another day we're going to be working on the Chevy. Got a lot of work to be done. Today we're going to work on getting these wheels off, swapping them out for another set I got, so that way we can actually drive it to go pick up another set of wheels. Already sprayed this down with PB Blaster. Last couple of days, these suckers are pretty rusted and I wasn't really sure what kind of condition they were in. Just went ahead and sprayed them down and broke them loose again. So now we're gonna rip them off real quick. All right, we got our jack stands on both sides and the jack under it. Try to get this thing off. All right, we're gonna put it on there. You pull the trigger. There it goes. Set it down. Do another one. Use two hands. Put it on there. All the way on. All the way on. Pull the trigger a little more. Well, gotta put it on there first. Oh, gotta put it on there first. All right. You get it?
Yep.
All right, so this guy had a locking hub fall off and it looks like it's been running like this for quite some time. So that's gonna be pretty fun. And as well, this sucker is completely toasted. Like there's some very, very large ribs. I don't know if I can even show it on camera, but this thing is warped like crazy. Good thing is the wheel bearing feels good. I don't feel any play in the axle at all. So definitely gonna have a lot of gunk and cleanup to do under here. Stabilizer shocks are pretty toast. I think it gets a little bit of speed wobble. That's probably what's going on. Good thing is, looks like we got some decent bushings. So a little bit of maintenance has been done. That sucker is brand new. So over here is a set of spare wheels that came with the truck. We got different tread patterns. Probably gonna throw these two smoothies up front for now. They're not dry rotted or anything and they hold air a lot better than the set that we have on there. So these guys are 225 19.5s. They're 12 plies. This one's actually not a terrible one. A little bit of cracking. I'd be worried that some of these might start delaminating or something, but we'll probably save this one as a decent spare for now. These have much, much better tread. Pretty good, decent tire for now. We're gonna end up going with the 17 instead of the 19.5s. I just like that look a little bit better. And I don't know, we'll decide what tires we end up going with. I think the set that I'm looking at already has tires. So this one is a passenger side and it is very dry rotted. Definitely really, really tore up. Not what you want to see if you plan on going anywhere. This one looks much, much better. So I'm sure we got ourselves some sort of brake issue or wear issue by the looks of it. These look a little bit better. This side was a whole lot drier in general. Sounds like a Cummins problem. So here we are with the new wheel and tire. Not really new, very much used. So up and down, we got no play. So that tells us the wheel bearing seems to be pretty good shape. We have pretty good amount of bump right here. Not even moving the tie rod really yet. So that probably where a lot of our bump steer and slop is coming from. Probably got a bad bushing on this side. We'll have to check that out. Back down. Alright y'all, we're all loaded up. Went ahead and did the rear real quick. They're actually mismatched, so whenever I went to pull them off, this side's 245s, the other side was only 225 size wheels and tires. So now we have 225s or 245s on this side, and we got a 245 on the outside, but a 225 on the inner dually. Just gonna be for cruising around town real quick, run down to O'Reilly's, get a couple parts, return those old batteries, and we'll be good. So this one's saying about less than a quarter. This one's saying about half. That one's probably broke. There we go. We got ourselves about a 33-gallon tank. So we'll see how much fuel she takes. The pump shut me down right here. I don't know why. Maybe it only goes up to 75 here. That's 20 gallons, so we'll see what that gets us. So it looks like we're still not showing very much. So not really sure. All right, y'all, it's the next day. We went ahead and picked these suckers up. We'll see how they work. They're just cheap O'Reilly's ones, but I don't see them being any issues. So we'll see how this goes. So these suckers can be a ginormous pain. Luckily they had a flat spot on one side, so I was able to throw a vice grip on it and break it loose. And then we can put it over here to the Allen key and ratchet it off. Literally the worst thing ever just happened. She gone. So I did not do my research before doing this. Thought this was gonna be one of those 30-second straightforward little projects, because that's how a door striker like this should be. But this is a crew cab, and I didn't do my research, so let me show you what I did. So, on these door strikers, there is no backer that holds the nut on the other side, the little square nut. So what you gotta do is you gotta remove the inner pillar. So here we are, I got the pillar laid over. You can see that's where we're supposed to be. Normally, on just a regular cab Chevy, like back here, on the back doors, you pull this sucker off, and right back here, you can see where it's pretty much soldered into the door. So to get this pillar off, first you gotta take the seat belt off, lay it over here. Then, I didn't want my headliner to fall down because it's reasonably up there. So I just unscrewed a couple of these screws here to like pull it back very gently. This stuff is extremely brittle. And then I unscrewed the pillar and I was able to just slide it over, get down in here with my magnet and fish this sucker out. And there she is. So if you're gonna be doing this project, just know that you're going to have to take that apart and you're gonna have to get your hand back there and put a finger on this so it doesn't drop down in there. This isn't just like a regular single cab where you can just unscrew it and it'll stay in place. All right, so here we go. This isn't really tightened up or anything. I'm just gonna check it out. This is the old one. It had 3 washers. I have no clue if it needs to be shimmed out that far. I would imagine it doesn't. It probably just was missing this bushing and they tried to do something to make it work. So we're gonna test it out like this with just a regular washer, how it's supposed to be, and then we'll go from there. So now I can see why he's got it shimmed like that, because this sucker is basically ramming right into it. All right, so now we're clearing. However, we're still hitting. Our door appears to be sitting too low. It's kind of hard to see under there. So our door is sitting too low. It needs to get picked up and then it'll latch. So we're just gonna have to adjust this up and down and around until we get to a good spot to where our door shuts. Right now we're pretty close. That wasn't bad. I didn't have to slam it or anything, but I mean, this is a farm truck. Our body lines and stuff are gonna be off. We're gonna have to do some adjustments and see how close we can get it, but it's just gonna have to be what it is sometimes. Hey y'all, been a couple days. I just went down and picked up some new wheels and tires for this thing. I think it's gonna be really, really good. We're gonna paint them up and try to make this thing look good. Here we go. Pretty much brand new set of Michelins. Decent wheels, gonna paint them up white. Think it's gonna look all right. Got ourselves a pretty nice little coat of primer on here. Just using some basic Rust-Oleum stuff. Roughed them up real quick with some sandpaper. Get them a little scratched up. Quick coat of primer. Get some good coverage. So we're getting rid of these bad boys. And check these out. Oh, she's fixing to look so good. I already started knocking the wire wheel on all of this. Just look how clean this side looks compared to this side. And I've pressure washed this so many times, degreased it, 10 million cans of foam and grease and WD-40 and every liquid you can spray on this thing. Gotta love them diesels. This is literally insane. Literally just mud. So much mud. Can't even do this on camera. So much mud. Sad thing is, I pressure washed this thing like 10 times already in just like the week of owning it, and degreased it and sprayed it and done everything, and there's still this much mud, which is insane. Y'all, I could not be more fired up with how this turned out. I think you're all gonna love it. It looks so good. Hey y'all, we got those wheels all set up. It's another day. Now we're gonna do some work on this engine. Y'all know what this is. Just picked this sucker up in the mail. 3,200 springs. Go do a quick install. Because of the power steering and the swap on this truck, I'm gonna have to move some stuff out of the way to get some access. Try to figure this thing out. All right, so we got the 4 flatheads off and our little fuel line. Take off the AFC housing. Removed our diaphragm. You can see our stock fuel screw, it looks like. Fuel pin, excuse me. What fell off? Oh, what are you doing? Oh, you working on it?
I can't find my wrench again.
Can't find your wrench again?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that one over there? You gotta keep an eye on them wrenches, they'll run away from you. Alright, so I removed this 8mm off of the throttle linkage. Gonna go ahead and lay the throttle linkage down here. Already removed the little washer off of here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get a good picture of this, showing which point this is lining up with. All right, then we took this banjo bolt off. I believe it was like a 17mm, but I just used an adjustable wrench. Just gotta be really careful. Then get our 4 Allen keys off, and then she should break free. All right, and here's our spring. Just gonna slip it out. Gotta be careful for this guy on the back. Swap in our new spring. This one has no markings on it, so hopefully it's a stock spring considering the fuel pin was the same. So this is the old one. It's definitely skinnier and longer. It appears to be more stretchy, so I'm gonna assume it's probably similar to stock, even though it doesn't have any markings on it. All right, so you're gonna break it loose. Make sure that you set everything back the way you found it. Take the fuel pin out. Don't forget there's a little tiny washer on top. Grab our new fuel pin. All right, we got our new fuel pin. Pick everything up. Put it right back how we found it. We'll snug everything up. We'll examine this. It's definitely looking a little bit worn, but we can always replace that later. Just make sure there's no holes in it. All right, so pretty much reverse process getting it back together. Reach in from the back and slip this guy back through once it's all clipped into the spring. And then you're gonna get your 4 screws in. It helps if you back out your throttle screw a little bit so that way you're not catching, and then screw it all back together. Alrighty, so I zipped it all back together. Just make sure that you line up your throttle with that little line that we talked about. There's plenty of videos showing how to do all this a lot more in depth. So if you're confused about anything, just drop it down in the comments and we can try to figure it out, or there's plenty of other videos. Got our trusty air stopper 5000. Got the turbo opened up just in case. Probably gonna require some tuning, but everything I put back to stock with the fuel screws and everything, so having to touch the smoke screw, we'll fiddle with that as we get going here. Let's see how we did. All right, so it definitely had a higher idle. Got nervous for a second, but ended up just letting it do its thing. So we'll probably have to tune it like I said, but it didn't run away, so it seems like we're in the right track. I just tuned it up pretty good. It's first time starting it, so we will see what happens now. Not first time since, but first time since fiddling with it some more. So didn't really show y'all what happened, as I just had to completely retake it apart again, break loose the idle adjustment, as it was way too tight for me to fiddle with it. So I didn't really show you all a lot of that, and I kind of spiced it up some more and probably don't know what I'm doing, so I didn't really want to show y'all. So see what happens. Well, y'all, much happier with that. Probably still turn the idle down another 50 or so, but it's sounding really nice. think I got her tuned in pretty good. Really only smokes if I'm putting it under load or if I'm really getting on it. So I'm pretty happy with that for the amount of work that I put into it. And I mean, she streams now. For a 10,000 pound truck, I mean, it still probably takes 10 seconds to get to 60, but it's a 10,000 pound 1 ton. It's not a race truck. So I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it used to load 15 pounds of boost and it would take some time to get there. And now, I mean, the turbo just lights right up. I'm getting almost 25 pounds of boost. So, I mean, this thing's ripping now. So I'm super happy with that. Super happy with these new wheels. These new wheels are looking crisp. Super happy with that. That's gonna do it for this video though. Definitely look forward to a flatbed coming on this thing, hopefully in the next video, and lots more work. Try to get a lot more work done to the interior. This bench seat's just not gonna cut it for much longer. I'm really not sure what I'm gonna end up doing. Let me know what y'all think I should do down in the comments. I'm thinking about maybe putting like a 2015 Silverado interior in this thing. I've done that before in a K5. It just makes the ride so much more comfortable. It's nice to have the cup holders, the center console. I mean, you can go drive this thing for days. I've already been putting several hundred miles on this thing the last couple weeks. So I don't know, I'm thinking about going that route. Maybe I'll just reupholster these seats. Maybe I'll throw Suburban seats in there. Let me know what y'all think would be a good idea. But with that, y'all, keep working on these trucks. It don't matter if it's a farm truck, if it's a 4-wheel drive, whatever it is, keep working on them, keep living for Jesus.